I think it's understandable that if they have like a piece or like a piece of art or like something that they release that a lot of people consider to be like their defining work. If I go to a convention, people are gonna run up and be like, "Megalovania, Rich!" It's like, yeah, I covered it. I remember.
Everybody, we are here with the legend guitarist extraordinaire of the internet, RichaadEB. Richaad, would you like to introduce yourself to the people?
Hey, I'm RichaadEB, and I make covers on YouTube, and I play guitar pretty fast sometimes. That's the best intro I got for myself.
Yeah, like, dude, I'm having this thing now where, well, I've been following your work for a while, and actually, you may not know this, but I've watched every single episode of your Boy Float podcast with Family Jules and Jonathan Young
Oh
that you made
no,
back in the day.
no.
So I know,
No.
like, Rich gives this aura of like being a very serious person, and when you play guitar, it's like, you know, it's very cool. You look very cool, but then you have this side to yourself, which is super funny. So I know it already.
I'm glad that it translates to cool for some people because for other people they see me in my serious face and they see misery and they see pain and they see like wanting to just I'm not going to go any further because the stories that people come up with to describe my serious face can be alarming.
Yeah.
But I'm not a very I guess to further my introduction, I'm not like a super serious, like salty dog of a person. I've been told I'm pretty bouncy.
Yeah.
But I'm also I'm pretty reserved on social media, so you probably don't see too much of me on there aside from my videos.
I think that's a healthy thing. Like this idea of having to perform and to be a certain way is like, no, don't do that. Like do that if you like to do it. Like the way I do it is just this is how I do things anyway, and in a weird way.
You're always just dripped out. You're always just like you always have the best clothes of like anyone that I follow on Twitter.
Thank you. No, I just like these clothes, but I also like I have some like metal shirts or something like that. I just like to change, but lately I've been doing this drip thing because I'm also trying to give a message to video game fans that you like if you're like video games and you're a bit geeky, that doesn't mean you cannot be stylish if you want to. And when I was young, I thought you need to pick a side. But then I don't know what. There's some stories, but basically it unlocked to me that I was like, actually at a convention, I was cosplaying a character that looked a bit elegant, so I had to buy some elegant clothes, and then I started using them for real. And I'm like, hey, I like this.
It works, man.
Yeah, I like it, and I think everybody like. I like your shirt as well. Like it definitely shows your character and stuff like that. This is the point.
You.
Of style is just making a statement about who you are with what you wear.
This shirt, the statement that I'm making with this shirt is that it was $10 at a thrift store.
But it looks good. It actually looks good.
Yeah,
And the bird with the hair reminds me of you when you headbang in your videos, which is glorious. It's freaking glorious. And like obviously there's like Rachel on doing the video work, I think, right?
Yeah. She handles all the. It used to be just me, but she handles the video and the editing and basically everything that it just allows me to focus more on making music, which is awesome because I really don't like doing video and editing work.
Yeah, she's great at it. Like she's like the videos I see on your channel are like some of the top quality video for covers on YouTube, and I'm like, Jesus.
Thank you, man. She'll be really happy to hear that.
When I open the TikTok, like the application, every single fucking time I hear blah, 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 and it's like you on guitar. The first ever thing I see on TikTok. Every time it's like your TikToks.
Was that you 15 minutes ago when you were waking up and you're like, oh, I guess I'll check TikTok and just blah, 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 blah. Like my loud bird shirt and my loud guitar and me headbanging and you're just like
that's pretty much what it looks like, man. It's great that the world is recognizing your talent.
They better. No, I'm just kidding. I'm flattered, man. I'm glad you hold me in such high regard. I didn't know you were listening to Boy Flop all the way back in like 2015, or like were you listening to it after the fact? Or
funny thing, I was listening to it probably in 2017 actually, because
2017. Okay.
Yeah. The podcast like is older than that, but before I didn't used to make video game music stuff that much. I used to do it sporadically, but I always liked it. And then I got very curious about it when I found about, you and Jules and Jonathan and Little V and like people like this. And I started going on YouTube looking for like panels at conventions that you guys gave and talked about, making covers on YouTube, because I was like, oh, this is interesting information. And then I was like, these panels are super cool. And they're like super cool people. So where can I find more? And I found Boy Flop. And initially I was like, wow, this is so weird. But then I was like, oh damn, this is an interesting story of like you guys moving to San Diego and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was literally like the fresh start. That was like one of the first things we kind of dove into when we first moved out to San Diego. Was we had been kind of conspiring to make this podcast just because it was like, why not? I mean, like we're 3 content creators, but this is literally back when I had like 10,000 subscribers and like Undertale was just a new thing.
Yeah, you were talking about your I made a cover of Megalovania and it's blowing up. I remember like you were talking about this stuff. So
no, that was a mistake.
Really? How do you feel about your Megalovania cover now?
I mean, I've which one?
Wait, how do you feel about it, and how do people feel about it?
It's it's Megalovania. It's a meme, and there are some people who, I think it's understandable that if they have like a piece or like a piece of art or like something that they release that a lot of people consider to be like their defining work, they come to kind of like not resent it, but feel like, but there's more to me than just that. I've never really felt that way, despite the fact that like if I go to a convention, people are gonna run up and be like, Megalovania, Rich. It's like, yeah, I covered it. I remember. I've never really gotten that impression from like that song or Undertale in general.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just like a mentality thing or if it's just like I just don't mind.
I was talking about this with the composer Austin Wintory, the composer of Journey, and he makes a lot of incredible soundtracks, but most people just remember him from Journey, which is kind of old now. And his thought process, just similar to yours, was like, well, I could complain about this, but also many people never got, like, I know many people who have wrote an incredible amount of soundtracks, but they never got a journey. They never got a soundtrack that defined them. A soundtrack people are like, oh my God, this touched my heart so much. So Austin is mostly grateful, and I guess it's the same for you in Megalovania.
I guess. I mean, like, obviously I'm not Toby Fox, despite despite what some people may think. That's a joke, by the way. There's been like there used to be people who are like, you're Toby Fox, right? I'm like, no.
They thought you wrote Megalovania for real.
For some reason, I don't know if you've ever encountered this. This is kind of a tangent. On YouTube, there's a bug where when someone will get a monetization claim on one of their videos, it'll say like, hey, we're claiming like this song, like Megalovania or like Life Will Change from Persona or something. And for some reason, YouTube thinks that I'm the composer of some of those tracks. So they contact me and they're like, why are you claiming my song? And I'm just like, I don't know. It's a YouTube thing. I wish I could fix it.
It's like in Sending the Rain becoming the composer of the Me Channel theme on Google. If you can look for him, the Me Channel theme on
That's
Google.
the same bug. That is the same bug. It thinks that Carlos in Sane in the Rain is the composer of the Me Channel theme, which is flattering but weird.
Yeah, maybe the composer is typing, I guess how my song is doing, and then, wait, who's this Insane in the Rain who dares to take my... And then it's actually YouTube's fault.
I guess this random YouTuber wrote the song and not me.
Top 3 stupid hate comments you ever got on your YouTube channel.
I don't really like retain hate comments. Like I used to like just straight up delete them, and usually I'll just like scroll past them and like let them be because I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, same. But there's some that I'm like, this was so stupid, and I can't forget that.
Yeah. God, there's a lot of people. Okay, speaking of Megalovania, there's a lot of people who think that it's my cover is fake. So I like if I were to go on my comments like right now, there'd be like several new comments that would just say fake. And I don't know why. I think it's because
what?
Yeah, I have no idea. I think it's because it's just old and it's been used in dual mixes and fan animations and Guitar Hero charts and Osu maps.
Damn.
And it's been everywhere. So it's kind of like that thing where like it belongs to the internet now, which is also why I feel like kind of ambivalent towards it because I'm just like it's out there and it does things and I don't even know what. But the consequence is that people will be like, this is fake. I'm like, why would you ever think that this is like? look at the date this video was posted. Why do you think this is fake? But usually it's just stuff like that being like, oh, this is fake, or like people will be like, his guitar's not plugged in the video. I'm like, man, you got me.
Yeah, I get. No, okay, I think I understand the reason why people sometimes are this stupid, and it happens to me as well on my bass videos. Nowadays, we do this, like musicians do this thing where they have like in the background of the video they show the computer, the display, and they show like an audio recorder recording the guitar being played live, and that's one way to show. Like maybe people now when they don't see that they're like, you're fake, but actually, for those who don't know, like the way I make my bass covers at least is like I record everything in the studio when I'm sitting here and I'm doing my thing, and I do bit by bit. Okay, I record this 1 minute, sometimes even shorter amounts. I do multiple takes, and then I cut the best parts of each take, glue them together, and then put some effects on the bass to make it sound good. And after that, I will.
That is what I do to a T.
Okay, so like
but with every instrument.
Yeah, exactly. We record after writing the full song, but we learn the song. We learn it and then we record it while the song is playing. So it's not.
And then then usually, like, do you have to relearn your parts like the next day when it's like filming day or something?
Oh,
and
yeah,
you're like, oh, God, what was I doing here? I mean, obviously, where it's not like a live take when it's like an outdoor video, and they're like, this is fake, you're not plugged in. It's like, yeah, why would I be plugged into? I'm in the middle of a park.
I guess I was talking to somebody who's like, saw my bass covers and they got indignant. Because Square Enix shared it and they started commenting, oh, he's a fake, you are fake, you are not even playing live, this is pre-recorded. I'm like, this is how every single piece of music video is pretty much made, unless it's like you're watching a live concert or some unplugged instrument performance. Usually we write arrangements and then after we record ourselves playing over the arrangements, but we learn them before actually recording them. And some people don't understand this.
Yeah.
So
I think that this isn't really like a really widespread issue because like I don't know like I grew up like watching bands on MTV and stuff and it's like, okay, obviously this is this is like staged and like whatever, it's for the purpose of the video, but like it is just kind of like that Santa Claus isn't real moment for some people once in a while where it's like, wait, what, this isn't live, what, you're not in my house playing for me specifically. What?
People are fucking crazy. One beautiful comment I got once is I have a channel where I make orchestral music tutorials, which, by the way, man, like as an orchestral composer, when I hear your covers, I'm like, for example, the Bloodborne, you made some Bloodborne covers, I think. Yeah. I don't remember which ones. Was it Lady Maria or Ludwig?
Yeah, I've there's several, but I did cover Lady Maria.
Okay. So when I hear your stuff, I'm like, am I hearing some orchestra in the background? Or did he master the guitar to an extent that it sounds like an orchestra? I don't know.
Oh, no. No, it is an orchestra in the background because I'm not as good at mixing orchestral instruments and VSTs as you are. Because your arrangements and your mixes are insane. So I always just shove them way in the back. And I'm always just like, man, I wish Alex was here looking over my shoulder being like, no, you're doing everything wrong.
No, dude, I think it sounds very well. Like, because again, it sounds very cohesive. So I cannot, like,
thank you.
For me, it sounds like your guitar has like some sound that other guitars don't have. And now it's because, you have this backing, but it doesn't get in the way of the guitar. Actually, your mixes are insane. They're very good. Like, when I think of covers, like, I really love your mixes. I love also Toxic Eternity's mixes. And you two in particular. And then obviously Jules and Little V and stuff, Jonathan is insane.
The whole slew of Usual Suspects.
Yeah, but yours hit the hardest, I think, and I'm always being kind of curious about that. And it's weird because you also you have this dichotomy, but like your music is so fucking aggressive, but you in your videos look very chilled in a way, And I'm like, fuck, like how does he do this? Like you have this crazy sound, and then you're like, yeah.
I guess I could attribute that like partially because I'm just not very good as like a performer. Like I know I'm good at playing guitar and whatever, but like performing is something that I definitely have been trying to improve at. But I guess also part of the reason that this is kind of like a little bit of a backstory into the RichaadEB lore is the lore, the fascinating lore of me. Yeah. back when I was a teenager, when I was like, in like high school, I didn't, for some reason, I got really hung up on bands that had a visual gimmick. And that visual gimmick could literally just be like anything. Because like the scene was really popular back when I was in high school. It was like the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
So it was like people who had, like kind of like the Hot Topic drip and like face paint for some bands and stuff. And for some reason, I was always put off by that. I'm not really sure why, but it just bugged me. It doesn't now. Like I love that shit now. But like as a kid, I was just like, eh. And I really appreciated that some bands, my favorite band actually, Between the Buried and Me, I really appreciated that they just kind of got on stage in like gym shorts and polos, and they're like, "Hello, we're gonna play prog metal now," and then they would just shred. Yeah. And it was awesome. Like I thought that was so cool that there was no pretension about it. They were literally just like, "Hey, what's up?" and they just like would play sick music.
Yeah, it's all about the music.
And I always, I for some reason I found myself attracted to that style of presentation when it comes to music. And then like later on I started listening to more like folk metal and like power metal and stuff. So like stuff like Ilvati and 3 Inches of Blood, and their visual gimmick is like nuts and super fun, and I learned to appreciate it. And like seeing bands like Korpiklani live where they're like wearing kilts and just like everyone's like in a dance circle and stuff. It's so awesome. Like, so it grew on me, but like, I guess when I was a kid, I was just like, yeah, just pretension. I don't know.
Yeah, but man, when we're kids, sometimes we're like, oh, I like everything that is trendy and popular, or we're the opposite. Like, oh, you're trying too hard. I think you're not cool. Like, for example, when Death Note came out, I was the kid who was like, I'm never going to read this because everyone thinks it's cool. I'm cooler than you. So I'm
Death Note?
Death Note, yeah, the manga. When I was in high school. Maybe, how old are you now?
I'm 31.
Okay, we're almost the same age. I'm 28. So it was kind
yeah,
of
I was going to say, you're born in 92, yeah?
Yeah. And I remember I hated everything that was popular. So maybe it was similar for you. Like, oh, these bands are popular because they look stylish or whatever. They look whatever.
Not really. It wasn't really, I don't know. It wasn't like a contrarian towards popularity thing necessarily. Because like, I still enjoyed like popular things. It was literally just for some reason, I'm not sure what, maybe it was like part of my upbringing or something, but for some reason, like if there was a band that like, even if they were like kind of not very well known, but they were like, God, what's that band? That really absurd band that has the really crazy live show and they dress up like aliens. Like I didn't really like them either, but which is weird because like when I first listened to them, I was like, oh, this is cool, because I was like, I kind of liked nu metal.
Yeah.
And then like when I later saw like their mask gimmick, I was like kind of off put by it. But then once again, like I kind of liked it later on.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. I don't know. I was dumb as a teenager.
Well, everybody was.
Band
but
that
there must have been a reason.
Gwar. It's Gwar. I was trying to think of Gwar.
Damn.
Have you ever heard of Gwar?
No, never. I'm not huge into metal, so maybe that's also why.
Their whole gimmick is that they dress up in like insane, really detailed silicone costumes, and they're meant to be they're playing the role of aliens that are here to take over the world and subjugate the human race. So at their live shows, they like spray fake blood all over the entire crowd and ridiculous shit like that. It is absurd. I've never been, but I've met up with friends who had just come from a Gwar concert, and they're just drenched in dried fake blood.
Jesus Christ!
And their music is just as absurd. They're really fun. But like when I was a kid, I was like, it's cringy.
Damn. When I was a kid, I thought metal was the music of the devil. And I definitely did not.
That's part of it. That's part of it. I was just like, ew, Satan, it's devil. Like,
yeah, and I didn't listen to it at all. Like, let alone see the bands.
Yeah.
And as soon as I heard like maybe a scream or some too aggressive guitars, I'm like, I'm out. Give me my video game music.
But it's funny because then you can get into the realm of like the popular realm of American Christian metalcore, like August Burns Red.
Oh God,
I don't know if you've ever listened to them.
I have never done that.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm just like name dropping these bands.
No.
But
I know the names, but I don't know the.
Okay, they are a pretty brutal melodic metalcore band that's known for their like super harsh vocals and really really heavy breakdowns. And they're Christian. They're not like overtly Christian or anything. And whatever. It never really bothered me. But they're Christian. And I remember I was hanging out with some of my relatives who are like like pretty Christian. And they were like, "Oh, so what kind of music do you listen to, Rich?" And I was like, "Oh, like heavy music. I tend to listen to like heavier music." And this was later on after high school. And they're like, I shit you not. They're like, "Oh, like Nickelback?" And I was like, kinda. And then I encourage people listening after this podcast to go listen to the song "Truth of a Liar" by August Burns Red, because I pulled that up. It is so brutal. And I was like, this is Christian music, like blasting it over their sound system.
God. What did they say?
They didn't say anything. They were just kind of like, "Oh,
are you okay?"
Wow. And I was like, yeah, they're Christian.
Man, I wonder what, like, when we have kids or when we're old and there's like new generation of kids, how we're gonna feel about the music they listen to. Because, the same way that my mom, like if I listen, like one of my favorite musicians is called Cell Dweller. I don't know if you know him. Cell Dweller.
That sounds familiar. I don't think I'm super familiar.
He's a guy who makes like this hybrid between like metal and electronic music. He's a master of metal. He's a master of electronic music in many different ways, and he blends them together. And it's very aggressive stuff, but it's so cool because compositionally speaking, it's just genius. And that's the guy that, like, listening to his music convinced me to buy a guitar and dive a bit more into metal. But
oh wow,
if I showed Cell Dweller tracks to my mom, she would be like, "Oh my god. Are you okay? Are you fine? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you?" And I'm thinking of my sister when she listened to, like my younger sister, she listened to Miley Cyrus Wrecking Ball or something. And the video where she twerks, I'm like, "Are you fine?" Like, I had the same reaction. I'm like, I wonder what we're going to think about the music of kids, like, in the future. And nothing wrong with Miley Cyrus, by the way. It's just something that I'm like, this aesthetic, I didn't understand it back in the day.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I think generally, like our generation and the Gen Z, the Zoomers are in general a little more like open-minded, a little more tolerant towards newer and like really, really, really crazy music. Because even now, like there's some really wild acts and artists that I do not comprehend whatsoever, like acts like 100 Gex and stuff like that, where I'm just like, I don't know, I don't get it, but I respect it. You can listen to it if you want.
Yeah.
It's just not for me. Whereas like I kind of recall like some of my friends' parents growing up where I was like listening to heavier stuff, even in middle school when I was listening to like Linkin Park and Chevelle, and they were like, listen to this crap, this Satan crap. And I was just like, but it's literally Linkin Park. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, dude, I wanted to talk about this. I was saying, man, it's been almost half an hour since we started recording. What the fuck? Time is flying. Well, I love talking about music. So sorry if we indulge into this conversation. Maybe people listening like, what the fuck? I thought they were going to talk about covers or something, but we're just here.
No, man.
Chilling. But yeah, one
melodic metalcore.
Listen to it. August Burns Red. I'm going to check it out.
My cover for this week, I don't know when this is coming up. I don't know when this is going to be posted. It might be posted later on, so this might be old news. But my cover for this week, the reason it's on my mind is because it's deliberately drawing inspiration from mid-2000s melodic metalcore, which is like not at all popular at all right now, but I don't care because I have such a soft spot for it.
Yeah.
So we'll see how people like it. I'm kind of interested because I've never done something that's played this straight in terms of just metalcore, just like stupid breakdowns and stuff.
I think it can be like it can be a good thing if you do something that's not very popular or something that's not done too much. That gives it a certain rarity or edge, and maybe people are going to appreciate it more for that reason instead of.
Yeah.
Anyway, your covers are already like kind of like particular. Again, probably some of the most aggressive guitars on the internet. So already, and dude, like you made Beethoven metal. Like, what the fuck? Like, what gave you that idea?
I'm sorry.
What gave you?
Sorry. What gave you the idea?
Yeah. What made you wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to complicate my life by learning this impossible piece on guitar? And not only learning it on guitar, but also making it sound metal and having to make it sound good despite having all those fast notes. You know, it's not easy because with metal, the guitar sounds so big and wide. And yeah, it's just hell to mix.
I think it was just a point of pride for me because that was not too long after John and I had posted our cover of Through the Fire and the Flames. And that is, an extremely complicated song to play on guitar. And some people in the comments were like, you should do this next, and you should do this next. And like people kept requesting that song, Beethoven's Sonata number 14, third movement or whatever, also known as Moonlight Sonata. I think that's it. Moonlight Sonata, third movement. And I was like, oh yeah, this is the crazy arpeggio song. And other people had covered it on YouTube. And I was kind of like, I can do that. And then I started the long arduous process of doing it. And it was like, like 2 days in of doing nothing but learning these arpeggios. And just like, I can do that. I
I thought you were like, I want to die, man. But you killed it.
No, it's thank you. It's weird how with particularly difficult pieces, like that I'm trying to play on guitar, it's kind of like a sine wave where I start high and I'm like, I can do this. And then it's like, this sucks. And then I just get so obsessed with it that's literally all I do. So like I took a week to just polish and finalize and practice that song.
That's insane. You know, that's very fast, in my opinion, for something like that. Then,
Thank you.
But I wanted to ask you actually at the beginning of the podcast, but again, I'm not scripting this or whatever, but you I was talking to Jonathan on the podcast that I made with him, and he name dropped you as one of the most talented guitarists that I know. Is my friend RichaadEB's.
I'm coming for you, John. Your album's awesome.
And it's like,
your album's so good. Go listen to it.
I agree completely. Like it's it's
so good.
It's the only album I listened to this year that I'm like, I keep going back to. The only one.
It's unironically so good. I'm sorry to deviate again because you were going to ask me a question, but I just have to say, like, I alongside Between the Bear to Me, one of my favorite bands is Protest the Hero. They put out an album in 2007, 2008 called Fortress, and it is my favorite album ever. It is flawless in my opinion. And some people might be raising an eyebrow and be like, flawless. Like, I've listened to that album. It's kind of weird. It's like really messy and just like all over the place and like kind of like sporadic. And I'm like, yes, but it's so fun. And John's album, Starship Velociraptor, is the first album I can think of, like basically since then, that hits that same stride, that like hits that same vibe of, this is just fun. That album is just nothing but bangers and just pure fun. It's so good.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's also like incredibly produced. Like it's like,
oh yeah,
on a music level, it's just some very, very freaking good stuff that you can study even, and you're like, oh fuck, I didn't know you could do this. But also it's so fun and stupid. Some tracks, like, you have one track that just is like an advertisement for a fictional starship, and it's like Starship Velociraptor or best band in the universe. It's just, it's amazing.
When he was doing, I think he mentioned, because I watched part of your podcast with him. I didn't make it to that point, but I remember he mentioned that he had sent out some demo mixes to friends for critique.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to be blessed with one of his earlier mixes of Jetpack Race. And I listened to that in my car, and I realized how dangerous that song is, because not only is it fast and upbeat, and it sounds like he deliberately based it on Diddy Kong Racing soundtrack, but he's egging you on in the song. He's literally saying, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Go, get up, go faster. Like, he's literally just like, I just clipped the audio, I'm sorry. It's just like, I'm getting excited thinking about it. But like, I just realized like, oh wow, this is like a dangerous song to drive to, because it is just nothing but like adrenaline.
Yeah, it's insane.
I don't know. That album's awesome.
It's crazy that, like, to me, I always think about this. It's crazy that we're actually able to create these emotions and compact them in a piece of music and then deliver them to people and have them feel it.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild. It's like wizardry.
Yeah.
Jedi mind controls.
You can kind of like manipulates is a dirty word, but you can kind of get people to feel a certain way just by playing a few notes.
Well, if they can relate to you, that's the thing. Like, if they have something they relate to, and you can use that, you can make them cry, make them laugh, make them race faster in the car. It's an incredible power. But Jonathan was talking about
just blow up your phone at 7:45 a.m. on your first TikTok of the day.
I don't know how that happens. TikTok is always like, okay, here's some guitar, more guitar. But yeah, dude, like, hey. John said that you actually, like, you didn't, like, it's not like, we were talking about musicians who are proof that talent doesn't really matter, but skill does. Like the hours you spend. It's like, one of the best guitarists I know is, RichaadEB, who spent an incredible amount of time practicing guitar. And when did you actually start playing guitar?
I began playing guitar when I turned 14. So April 27th of 2004 is when I began playing. Yeah, so I've been playing now. I've been playing guitar longer than I haven't now through the duration of my life, which is really weird to think about because I think that puts me at 17 years.
Yeah. What made you start?
Okay, so when I was a kid, I was the biggest space case. I was like the biggest space cadet. Didn't pay attention in school. Didn't really care about anything for some reason. Just I didn't really have any ambitions or aspirations in mind. I was like 13 and 14 is the time I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I would like see things and be like, that looks cool. So I tried snowboarding because I played 1080 snowboarding on N64 and I sucked. And then my parents got rid of the snowboard because I didn't want it anymore. And I had similar like fad hobbies that I'd be like, I want to try skateboarding because I played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and I learned how to kickflip. And then I accidentally like hurt myself kind of one time and I was like, this sucks. And then I stopped doing it. And then I saw my friends at a middle school talent show before the show had started. It was like during school hours. This middle school, they were rehearsing. They were playing like a Blink-182 song or something, and I thought it looked really cool. Just like them playing guitar and also drums, and I was just like, this looks really cool. And I asked my parents. I was about to turn 14, and I asked my parents like, please buy me a guitar. Please buy me a guitar. I want to try playing guitar. It looks so cool. I want to play guitar. And they're like,
again.
Yeah, like the snowboard and the skateboard and everything else, right? And I was just like, I want to try guitar. I want to play guitar. And they were like, they went into it fully expecting me to just pick it up and be like, this sucks, and just like, throw it on the pile of other forgotten hobbies. And I think this is where the distinction comes between like, not like talent does have like some connotations with that word, but like for some reason I stuck with guitar and I have no idea why.
Maybe you just liked it more.
Yeah, it's just fun. And I think that's kind of the thing is like for some people, their parents bring them to piano lessons and they muddle through it and they don't retain anything like when they're a kid. And they don't care and whatever, and they forget about it. And for other kids, their parents bring them to piano lessons and they learn and they enjoy it and they practice and play in their off time.
Yeah.
And for me, as like a 14-year-old space cadet who didn't care about anything, that like learning to play guitar just of my own volition was the first time I can really recall giving a shit about anything.
Wow.
Which caused me to give a shit about other things in turn.
Yeah.
Because I began making more friends as a result of playing guitar because they're like, hey, you're playing a guitar. That's cool. And I think it did something where it kind of like unlocked part of my brain after a while that had been dormant. Because like I said, I was a real space cadet when I was a kid. So I played it and I just enjoyed playing it and I never stopped. Like I would literally like just be up past my bedtime. I should be going to bed, getting ready for school, just practicing guitar with the amp turned off. And mind you, this was like a little cheap, like it was a Fender Squiire, it was like $100. A perfectly fine beginner guitar.
That's so inspiring though. That's amazing, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. Like like when people talk about talent, and I know John has some takes about this that I for the most part agree with. People talk about talent. It isn't just something that people have, and I agree with that. But there is like, I think people will have a knack for something where it's like they enjoy it more than like someone else will. Like, I think gymnastics are cool. I've tried it and I hated it. I think snowboarding is cool. I've tried it and I've hated it. I still think it's cool. I think guitar is cool. I tried it and I kept trying it. And all I wanted to do was try it and continue to play. And I still feel that when I sit down to make a cover, and I'm 31 now, and I'm just like, time to make a Mario Galaxy cover. And I still just enjoy noodling. Like, it's just fun.
I think it's like what the word you're looking for is curiosity. And I guess that's what people like. Passion is one thing, curiosity is kind of another. And curiosity can lead to even more passion. But you can be passionate about something, but not be able to actually become extraordinary at it. I'm passionate about video games. Does that mean I'm gonna become a video game developer. No, but I'm curious about the music of video games. That curiosity can.
But you're gonna score a Square Enix game, right?
One day, maybe. Like I would love that.
No, not maybe. It's gonna happen.
Well,
it's gonna happen. Like at this rate, you've met like the entire music team. You've met the legends. I don't even know how you did that. That's amazing, by the way.
Thank you. I'm very blessed. It's crazy, and I never thought that would happen. Honestly, not for a second.
That seems like one of those things where like it seems like an unattainable thing.
Yeah.
And then I tune into YouTube, little old me tuning into YouTube. I'm like, oh, Alex uploaded a video. He's talking to Nobuo Uematsu.
Yeah, that was
okay.
That was also incredible luck because I essentially found out they released this new game they made, and it's the last one they'll ever make. So this was the last chance to ever interview them for something like this. And I was like, hey,
oh wow,
I have a channel. I love your games and your music, and I'd love to do an interview with you if possible. And they're like, yeah,
oh, man.
I love the channel. It's pretty cool. So I'm like, fuck. And yeah, so.
Oh yeah, we watch you sometimes. Oh my God.
I was like, that's crazy. Like when I hear stuff like that.
That's so fucking crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, I would love to make music for a Square Enix game. I would freaking love that. But yeah, that's curiosity for me. That's the videos that I make. Mm-hmm. The things that I learned with music is just curiosity. It's me being like a student and a scholar more than me being like, hey, watch this. I'm so cool. I'm like, oh, how does this work? Why does this song? Why do people like Megalovania? Okay, let me make a video about it. I'm going to listen to it and tell you and stuff like this. And
for me, it's the opposite. I just want to look cool on camera.
No, you're just very curious about it. And that's very nice.
Yeah.
You know, I hope more people hear this because I know there's lots of people who maybe like you maybe tried a few things and they're like, oh, but I don't like this. And now maybe they feel like losers and they're like, oh, I don't care about anything, or I don't want to do anything, and I don't have a talent. But actually maybe you haven't found the thing that you're very curious about yet.
Yeah, I think there's I think that's something that everyone should pursue. I think it's kind of cliche to say, but I think there is kind of something out there for everybody. And like even me now, like we were talking a little bit before you started recording.
Oh, the bread.
I still love guitar, but it's my job now. Like I sit down and play these damn things. They're over there. So I've been like, dude, have you tried baking sourdough? It's so cool.
Yeah. When did you start doing that actually?
Like literally a couple weeks ago, and I was just like, wow, you can make bread without yeast. You use like natural yeasts in the form of a starter. And I was like, that's really crazy. And then I started doing research on like how baking is so precise, and like I know like literally nothing about it. Like I am like such a novice, like, but it's just one of those things where I'm like, this is so cool. It's like chemistry but with food.
Yeah.
And it's like I made a couple loaves and I was just like, this is so cool. How I made what I get at the store, but it tastes better and it's not in a bag.
Yeah.
It's just
it looks good also.
I don't know. It's just
pictures on Twitter. I'm like, damn.
Yeah. I because I'm not very good at social media and I hate putting myself out there for my opinion. I like to just be like, look, bread, look, pizza.
Well,
by the way, here's a cover.
I suppose actually I have some admiration for people who use social media without that ego of being like, hey, I just took a shit. You know, like when you see this like status and like, oh, I just took a walk here. I'm like, okay. Like,
I just took a shit. 20,000 retweets.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Like sometimes, obviously no one tweets that way, but that's the same energy I see on many tweets. Like, hey, I did this.
Some people do.
Yeah, I'm like
for me, like I don't understand it. I'm in the camp of people where like I overthink. Like I will sometimes like I don't even use Facebook anymore, and I don't really like do Instagram or Snapchat or anything. And like I've been doing TikTok, but that's just like for video. Yeah. So like on Twitter, I'll just like have drafts going, and I'll like type it and like reread it and be like, wait, is this cringe? And then I'll be like, Rachel, does this suck? And she'll be like, I don't know. And I'll be like, I'm just gonna delete it, and then like I won't post for weeks. Well, and like I can't do it.
I would say like it's, in my opinion, maybe it's like, yeah, maybe you should cut yourself some slack and just be fine with even sometimes posting, stupid stuff. That's fine, honestly. But
yeah,
I like when people are like I understand there's lots of people following me, and I want to post something of value. I don't just want to like flaunt my ego and just be like, hey, I did this, or I'm this, I'm that. But like Brett, that's super cool. It's like you being creative and showing the world. Do you know you can make your own sourdough, and it looks like this.
I think my most popular non-music tweet was when I tweeted last year. I tweeted out a picture of a pizza that I had baked, and I was like, I think it was for like Christmas or something. I was like, Merry Christmas, I baked a pizza. And then later I quote retweeted myself because my dad had called me to tell me that my pizza was ugly.
Oh no.
So I quote tweeted myself and I just said, Dad called to tell me my pizza was ugly. And I got like all these retweets, and I was like, no,
oh my God.
Damn it.
That's what you're known for now, because your dad called your pizza ugly.
How? Yeah.
Did you?
I mean, it was kind of ugly, but still, how dare he?
Do you cook often in the house?
Yeah, I try to limit the amount of like I still order out every once in a while. Like we'll go out to like In-N-Out or something around here, or we'll just order in. But if I'm not doing like a meal delivery kit thing, I'll usually just like, I don't know, like just make something really simple like eggs, or I'll like go and get materials to make like a simple pasta or something, and then like it's fun. Like it's really zen for me. Like
yeah.
It's just something that like I don't really have to think about very much. I'm just like, this makes sense. It's just food.
Well, it's art in a way, though.
It's edible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is. I don't consider mine to be art because I'm literally just making the most simple crap in the world. But like, I do really, really, really respect like people who have involved themselves that much into like the art of making food, and I actually find myself also like watching channels like Josh Weissman and Binging with Babish and like people like that.
Okay.
Just because it's like, I don't know, it's just zen for me. It's just fun to watch, and it's like watching people be good at it. Like kind of inspires me in a way.
I think maybe that's also why people like to watch covers. Like they already know the song,
Yeah.
but they're like, oh, I want to see how this guy does it, or that guy does it, or something like that. Probably. I wanted to ask you, if you weren't a musician, what do you think you would do as a job?
Well, before I moved out to San Diego, I was an assistant technical director at a closed captioning firm based out of Michigan. I went to university for electrical engineering and network administration, so I would definitely be like a technical director or a network administrator or something like that.
I almost did that in high school. Like not electrical engineering, but like electrical studies or something. I had to decide between information technology or electrician things, and I ended up doing information technology.
Yeah, I guess it's unfair to say that I went for electrical engineering because it's electrical engineering technology, which there is a difference, and engineers will be quick to tell you like that's not the same. But my major was mostly in network administration, so like setting up just like networks for businesses and stuff. So I would most certainly be doing something with that. But I am very happy and fortunate and privileged to be able to sit down and just kind of wail on my guitar every week instead of going in and fiddling with Ethernet cables and setting up subnets and stuff.
What are the top 3 best things that your job gave you?
My current one?
Yeah, your music. Probably that's how you met your wife, I suppose.
Oh God, yeah. Okay, we're opening a whole box of crayons here.
How did you meet Rachel? By the way, congratulations again for becoming.
God, I should almost probably just go get her. During Undertale.
No way, you met her with Megalovania?
Stop! No, Alex,
Okay.
no. Yeah, we during the Undertale craze, she had actually found out about my channel before like Undertale stuff, but she had reached out during the midst of it after I had moved to San Diego because she was based out of LA, and we just kind of like started talking. So it was mostly through Twitter. Before we met, she had made like these really cute little like fan animations of like me as Asgore, like with a guitar,
Oh, wow,
like
that's
playing
cool.
it, and it was like animated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. And yeah, we just got to talking, and I one day she DM'd me on Twitter. Like this is before we had actually met, and she was just like, she was just complaining about how she was hungry. So I was like, what if I ordered you a pizza? And she was like, okay. And then I was like, where am I delivering it? And she like, that's how I got her number and her address. So I
Okay.
accidentally did that.
Oh, wow.
But like, I could tell that she wanted me to do that.
Yeah.
So I bought her a pizza, and then from there we met, and it was just kind of like, you know, that's how it went.
That's so cool. It started with Undertale on a pizza. That's pretty dope.
When you put it that way, man.
That's nice though. You know,
yeah.
it's like it's the things you like.
Those are my hobbies. Those are my listed hobbies. Megalovania and pizza.
No, but like it's a nice story compared to being like, oh yeah, we met in a club. Or, oh yeah, we met on Tinder or something. Nothing wrong with Tinder. I met my girlfriend on Tinder right now. However, you meet like you meet people in many ways, but this is a very nice story. So this is very cute.
She also, and I'm remembering now, she sent me, like, she added me on Facebook, like right around the time we first started talking, and she made this really quick little like MS Paint doodle of me, like a stick figure just holding a guitar, and I made it my my profile picture on Facebook. And apparently that was the moment where her and her friends were like, okay, we have to meet this guy. Like, so.
Okay. Wow, that's cool, man. She sounds very artistic. Like she can do a lot of things.
Yeah, she's extremely talented. I'm once again like after we had started dating rather, when I was still editing my own videos and like using a tripod to film myself, which, you know, whatever, a lot of people still do. She was watching me edit, and I was just complaining about how much I hated it, and she was like, I could try it. And I haven't touched Premiere since. And that was like back in 2017. I have not touched Premiere since. It's just been all her, and I'm just thank God.
Sometimes I'm like, Jesus, I wish I had, you know, one girlfriend like that as well. Like, I don't know, Jules he's with Adriana, and they're both musicians, and that can, you know, create some beautiful things. You have Rachel, who's, you know, this amazing artistic powerhouse that helps you with your, you know, like your thumbnails, your album art, and your videos.
Oh, I'm not kidding when I say she does everything other than the music.
Yeah, I think she does the branding. Like the branding of RichaadEB is done by, and you can see it. Like when you go on Spotify and stuff, like your album covers look so fucking legit.
Yeah, that's actually a thing. That's actually a thing that I kind of wanted to like tangent and like bring up is people like. Some people have asked me like what, because my music has kind of popped off disproportionately on Spotify, and I have no idea why. But if I had to give a guess,
Maybe it's playlist.
It's playlist, but that's kind of like a newer thing. Rachel's been doing these like banger album arts like every week, and she actually like puts a lot of thought into them and makes them like super identifiable branding, like really eye catching. She puts a lot of thought into them. And I think that might have something to do with it because I have been to cons. Where people like, I'll play guitar live, you know, but like a lot of the time people are listening to me on Spotify, or like they just throw me on the background, or like it like autoplays to me. So people won't really know who I am. And then after the show, I've had it happen many times where like they'll see me and they'll be like, hey, you're really good at guitar. Like at like an autograph signing or something. And then they'll look at my, like I'll have shirts or like CDs for sale, and they'll be like, I know you from Spotify. And I'll be like,
oh,
yeah, wow, yeah, hi. Like they it's like an instant recognizability thing, and that's all Rachel. The branding, the album art, the thumbnail, the video editing, the cinematography, the color correction, Instagram videos, Instagram posting, TikTok reels, like everything is her.
That's insane. Like that's amazing to like have this team.
So it's both of our full-time jobs.
Yeah. Well, you guys do it amazingly because again, it works very well. And you know the music, like
thank you.
The fact that you're able to like each do its own part, it means like you get to completely shine on the music. She gets to completely shine on the art and stuff like that. That's I think that's something more people need to do. You know, but you know, not everybody's gonna be fortunate to have a girlfriend like that or a you know a boyfriend like that. For example, my girlfriend doesn't know shit about all this stuff. When I post a video, she's confused about it. But you know, that's fine as well. But I think having a partner or someone like work partner or something like that, or a small team can be good for content creators.
It can be stressful, like when you're going into like because like we are a business now. It can be you hear like that adage about like, oh, don't go into a professional business with someone you love. I think there's validity to that, and what that tells me is like, don't do it, don't try it, but you have to have a really good synergy and a really good chemistry with the person that you're working with if they're also your partner. Because it is really stressful. you know, like when you're working, when it is your job and you're both working on it, and it's like I see that person during work and I see them after work.
Yeah.
It's like you have to have a really solid relationship with them so that it like work doesn't deteriorate. Because like, you know, people say like, don't bring your work home with you. I was like, for me, I don't have a choice, but we both just enjoy our job so much that like it doesn't really matter as much.
Yeah, it's a blessing, and you're both on the same page. I think you have the same values and the same kind of passions, probably. I mean, you met with Undertale and Pizza, for God's sake, you know. So probably that's one thing. But yeah, this is very important advice, I would say. And what are some things that you wish people understood more about your job besides this? What we just talked about.
As far as like covering music on YouTube, my opinion has always kind of been like, how do I want to put this? For me, it's like kind of what you see is what you get. Like there is kind of like a little bit of like mysticism behind like what happens behind the scenes, but it really is just like for the most part, sitting in front of a DAW, sitting in front of Photoshop.
Yeah.
Just take. Okay, that was good. Take. That was good. And then like, you know, you get like a little 5-minute product, but I don't think there is like.
Yeah. What does your process look like? Like, do you like how much time do you take to write a cover, and what do you do? Like, do you choose a song randomly, or are you like, oh, I think this one will go well, and because I have this idea, and then you just like, what does your process look like for someone?
Okay. My process is pretty like on the fly. So if I don't have an idea for something to cover for a given week, I will usually go to other musicians' channels to see what's doing well, or I'll browse through a soundtrack, that I think is hype, or I will directly ask my community via the community tab or on Twitter, being like, what do you want to see me cover? Or I'll go on Reddit and I'll go to the game music subreddit and see what people are talking about. Because usually my mentality is I want to cover something that people are going to enjoy.
Yeah.
Once in a while I'll do something for myself, like an original, or I'll cover something that I really want to cover. And a lot of times those categories overlap. So I will cover something that everyone, like I enjoy it and everyone else enjoys it. And those are the best. But usually it just starts with, you know, I just kind of like pick one on the fly if I don't have an idea. And then I sit down, and my process is the same almost every single time. I pick the track and I start with drums, and then I do rhythm guitars, then bass, and then leads. And then everything past that is usually additional instrumentals and mixing.
Do you normally arrange while you're playing, like, or do you just sit down?
It's just whatever comes to mind. Like I usually will like sit down and I'll just like start clicking in drums with my mouse. And just be like, this might sound cool. This might sound cool. It is literally just whatever comes to mind. I just kind of vomit it onto the DAW, and that's usually the final product.
And how much time does that process usually take for like arranging like that?
It used to take me
outside of mixing.
It used to take me quite a bit longer. Yeah, aside from mixing, it used to take me quite a bit longer, but now I can usually knock out an entire arrangement a couple hours.
Wow.
Get everything recorded, like everything recorded and like ready to go. Aside from like little nitpicking, like mix stuff in a couple hours.
Wow. Okay, well, that's very quick. And how about mixing and stuff like that?
I generally use like one of 4 templates that I have, and I kind of like I gradually build on them over time and make little adjustments over time. And I usually just rely on those. So mixing is usually pretty seamless for me. Like I don't really rely on like a bunch of crazy VSTs and stuff because I'm not super knowledgeable about like all the really like cutting edge like mixing and mastering plugins.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, like I rely on people who are more intelligent and more knowledgeable than me for advice on like what I should do for my mixes. And I go, you're smart, I'm going to listen to you. And I try to implement what they say as best as I can. And then everything past that for me is usually little surgical EQ scoops and like panning differences and volume adjustments to the point where I'm sitting there and I'll be like, let's adjust this down 0.05 decibels, and then like listen to it and be like, let's adjust this up 0.025 decibels, and I'll like listen to it and be like, let's adjust this down 0.005 decibels, and I'll just like listen to it and be like, oh, that track was muted.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah, definitely. But that's what mixing is about, though, for the most part. It's just managing volume. With EQ is just another way to manage volume, compression, volume.
That's something too. Like we were talking, I'm sorry to cut you off so much. That's something too. Like we were talking about like when people kind of have like a curiosity or a knack for something or like a passion. I wouldn't say that I'm like super passionate about mixing or anything, but I do enjoy it, which is weird because I always thought I would hate it before I attempted to do it. And I like sitting down in front of a mix, I can get so nitpicky and just like make like a giant list of things that I would change. And like, I like doing it. Like I love critiquing my own work and other people's work when they ask for it. So like, and like making those little surgical incisions and like just replaying the same like stem over and over and over and over and over and listening to it and making little adjustments. I don't know what it is.
Curiosity.
I don't know if it's it has to be like that for like other people too, especially if they're like professional producers. But like I, once again, am fortunate enough to be someone who enjoys just doing nothing but practicing sweep arpeggios for 8 hours straight, but also sitting there with a vocal sample from Caleb Hiles that's repeating like a quarter-second increment so I can try to figure out what the problem frequency is with like 10 span windows open or something. And I enjoy it. I don't know. It's
that makes
just
me
fun
think
for
of Nolly from the band Periphery, the bass player, who is the mixing engineer also. Is just I saw some of his videos, his courses, and it's like he speaks about it with the passion that you're like, damn, I wish I could see it like this, because it's like, oh yeah, I did this here.
Yeah.
I cut the formant, and it talks about all this technical stuff. And
oh yeah,
he's
a mastermind. Like he has the like the crazy technical knowledge that I said that I kind of lack. So like,
but
he's
for the most part, he has a very strong excitement about it. So he can really spend a lot of time caring about that stuff. Maybe that's the same thing you have for mixing,
I feel like at a certain point, I get overwhelmed because, like I said, I rely on other people who are more intelligent than me and more knowledgeable than me for like mixing advice and like pointing me in the right direction or even helping me set up a template.
Yeah.
Shout out to Lee Albrecht, one of the people who will often make backing tracks for Jonathan Young, actually. He came out to San Diego a few years ago and he helped me completely overhaul my my DAW and like my signal chains and everything. And part of the reason that I think my mixes are okay, but part of the reason I think they're okay is because he did a lot of the heavy lifting by knowing everything ahead of time. And then he was just kind of like, don't worry about the specifics. These things are doing things and it sounds good. And I was like, okay.
That's dope. That's great. That's all you need sometimes, a helping hand.
And he is one of those people who is super knowledgeable and super excited. Like you can see him like get just like bright-eyed and just like super excited about like production. And I'm just like, man, you're nuts. Like I can't. I like it, but not that much.
That's cool though. That it seems like you see the value in working together with others and letting other people help you. It doesn't seem to me that you want to do everything by yourself, even though it might look like that, like to people, like, oh, it's always him on his YouTube channel, or sometimes he does collabs, but it seems like he's the one. But no, you're surrounded with amazing people, and you let them help you, and you help them, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, I try to. I guess I had never like thought of it like that, because I started out that way. But like I said, it was like a miserable slog, like trying to edit my own videos and doing the camera on the tripod with the HDMI cable to the monitor so I can see what I'm doing and like all that stuff. And I am more than happy to, and like I said, privileged to have people who want to and are willing to help me improve my products or like my content or my music or whatever you want to call it, my products. And yeah, I guess I never really thought of it like that, but yeah, absolutely.
Do you find that you became like you said you're an introvert, but do you find that your work made you a bit more extroverted?
I don't know if I would call myself exclusively an introvert. On social media, like I said, the anxiety kind of gets to me where I'm like, I'm considering tweeting a picture of a cat and I go, oh, well, what if I offend people who don't like cats? And then I like do that. And I don't want it anymore.
Getting canceled for pictures of a cat.
Yeah, exactly. I guess it wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm not sure. Like, I think I'm like I used to be a real big space case, and even after like learning and like playing guitar a lot, I was still kind of like withdrawn and just kind of didn't care about things. And I slowly came out of my shell. And I went to university and I really came out of my shell. And I started talking to other content creators and musicians and YouTubers like back in like 2014. And I think that also caused me to come more out of my shell just because it was such a cool community, like getting to meet everyone on Skype and then eventually meeting them at like MagFest and stuff and learning that like there's a whole community of people that enjoy doing the same thing that I enjoy doing. But in terms of like making me more extroverted, I have a weird answer for that. I think
You're an ambivert.
I don't know what that means. What is that?
When you're both, like you can be very extroverted, but then you need some introversion time as well, or backwards.
What I've learned about myself, I think there's some truth to that, but what I've learned about myself is that I think I'm a social chameleon. So I am the type of person where I will catch myself very, very easily picking up on like little like idiosyncrasies of how people act and little mannerisms and just like the general vibe that they go with when they're like also out being extroverted. And I also glean this type of... I sound like a robot, I'm sorry. I glean this type of information as well. I noticed from YouTube when I first started watching a lot of like people on YouTube back in like 2013, I learned how to be a funnier person and a more personable person by watching and listening to people who are funny and personable. And like, it's like, yeah, obviously that makes sense. Yeah. But for me, it was one of those things where it was like a hard switch. And that really contributed. That was right around the same time I started talking more so with people online, like yourself and other people, just who do this stuff for a living or as a hobby. And it all kind of just congealed into whatever I am now.
Wow. They say like you are so this is an instinct that is very human, I think, like becoming more similar to the people you surround yourself with or the people you're exposed to the most. But obviously it's, maybe in you it's like super fast. And maybe that's, your...
Maybe I lack context for how other people feel and act about this, but I will catch myself like picking up on, like I said, like idiosyncrasies and mannerisms and just like little things in a given group of people like instantly. And I think
like you can adapt to it is what you're saying. Also.
At least I used to be able to before the pandemic. I've been in lockdown for a while, so I think I might be kind of rusty now.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy for everybody, but actually that's everybody can pick, understand how people are, but very few can actually adapt to that. Some people are like, I'm not like this.
Yeah, I think because like they're like people they adapt to like a work culture, or if they like move to a different country, they adapt to that culture. Yeah. They begin to speak like the native culture. They begin to have similar mannerisms. It happens over time, but like, I don't know. For me, like I don't know if like it is like a hyper awareness of it or something. But I told you this is kind of a weird question. Maybe I'm just overthinking it because, like I said, I lack context for how other people think about this type of stuff. But I guess short answer is omnivert.
Have you traveled outside of the US much?
Not like a whole lot. I've been to the Baja Peninsula of Mexico. I've been to Canada. I've been to Japan twice.
Oh, you've been to Japan?
Yeah, I've been to Japan, and I'm very desperate to go back. Yeah.
Yeah, same. I've been twice as well, and I'm craving it.
I'm
How did you feel there? Like, were you able to like fit in and not be the noisy, annoying foreigner?
I mean, when you're not a natively Japanese person who doesn't speak the language, it's pretty hard to not stick out like a sore thumb. But that was like such a learning moment of just like, whoa, culture shock, and just like, I'm gonna stand out no matter what I do. So that was like there was a moment where like my first day in Tokyo, like my first actual day after like arriving there and like getting riding the trains to our hotel, I kind of had like a little I guess you could call it a panic attack. I don't know if that's the right terminology or if I'm like misusing it, but like Rachel was like, "So what do you want to do?" And I was just like, "What are you asking me? What do you mean? What do I want to do? Where are we? That subsided, but I was just, it was that realization of like, I cannot blend in, I cannot adapt.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I'm 2,000 something miles away
now.
from, way more than 2,000 miles away. I'm misremembering. It's a way longer away than a very long way away from home. That was one of those crazy culture shock learning moments for me. That subsided within a couple hours, and I got along fine after that. And I know a very childishly rudimentary amount of Japanese, enough to like ask very simple things. But people in Japan are extremely kind and usually multilingual.
Yeah, they're amazing.
And everything's in like English in Tokyo anyway, for the most part. So it was.
Yeah, and honestly, like most people cannot go beyond konnichiwa. So if you're able to even say like basic stuff beyond that, Japanese people are very impressed by that. So
and it's really cool that a little bit can go so far in Japan. And like I said, I miss it desperately. So like I said, that little attack of like, what am I doing? That went away really fast. And now it's just like, I just want to go back, man. I just want to, like, I have some friends there. I want to explore more. I've only seen a fraction of Tokyo and a little sliver of Kyoto, and like I miss it.
Yeah, like those. I love Tokyo the most. I've been in a few places. Not too many. I've been to Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, and Nara, and Kamakura.
Mm-hmm.
And of all these places, I like Tokyo the best because I was born and raised in Milan, which is a big city in Italy and stuff, and then I lived in London, and now I live in Prague. I'm always drawn to big cities, so Tokyo for me was like, oh, this is so cool. But I'm told, like, rudimentary Japan, or like outside of Tokyo, is usually the best one. So I'd like to go like maybe to Sapporo and places like that.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Absolutely. I want to check out Okinawa at some point, and definitely want to see Osaka, more of Kyoto. Like I said, I've only been to Tokyo and Kyoto.
I think you would like Osaka. Osaka is very, very feisty, and there's a very nice food culture there. People are chill, more chilled than in Tokyo. It's a bit smaller, but it's pretty cool. Like,
I believe it's only like a 30-minute train ride from Kyoto as well. It's pretty close, so you can kind of knock out like visiting both cities by like taking one Shinkansen ride.
That's what we did. We stayed in Tokyo for a while, then we went to Osaka, and from Osaka we just visited Kyoto and I think Nara. And did you learn something? Like, did that travel change you a little bit, or did it teach you something? Because like with this thing that you can get social cues, maybe you can retain some of them. Maybe.
I found myself kind of like, like I did gradually begin to like adapt as best I could, but that was one of those like those like life things that happen where it's like, I'm never going to forget this. And I've been twice now. And I think about it a lot, like all the time, like even just like little tiny things, like being at an ATM trying to withdraw money and like someone being like, do you need help? Like just random stuff like that. Or like being on one of their trains and seeing like a little bug fly around and land on the person across from me, and then them desperately pretending that it's not there and hoping that nobody noticed. Especially not the foreigner across the aisle.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's so amazing.
I don't know. It's it's weird because, like I said, I try to study Japanese a little bit. Just with free apps, and being immersed in the culture, even with just like a literally nothing understanding of Japanese, but you like know like a little bit about the kana or something. It can go a long way. Like it's weird. It's amazing how quickly you begin to, and I'm sure you experience this as well, how quickly you begin to pick up on just the language by being immersed in it.
Yeah, and also like one very interesting thing about Japan and Japanese is that the way that language works is very different to most, or like very different from English or different from Italian, where there's a lot of levels of formality in Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, when you learn to speak Japanese, you learn to respect other humans more. That's what I found. You learn to be more respectful towards others, or more, I don't know, more aware of, I'm talking to someone else, and I should, be polite.
Like social hierarchy, but not in the sense of like you're talking to your boss at work or something. More in the sense of like this is someone who is kind of considered to be an equal to me. This is for someone who is older, so they have seniority. This is someone who is higher up on the company hierarchy, or like just any number of things like that. And it is really fascinating and as a Westerner confusing, but I kind of get it.
Yeah, like I think that obviously the truth probably is in the middle. Like I like our way in the West. I like the way of people in the East as well. And I think maybe knowing a bit of everything leads you to be a more complete person and have a better understanding of the world. And one thing that we can definitely learn from Japanese culture is like humble, like being humble. Dude, when I was speaking to Masayoshi Soken, the composer for Final Fantasy XIV, or Nobuo Uematsu, or Hironobu Sakaguchi, the creator of Final Fantasy, or Yasunori Nishiki, who's another composer of like Octopath Traveler and stuff, all of them shocked me with their how humble they are. Like they are insanely good at what they do, so incredibly talented, but they are so humble, and they're like, they're surprised when they hear that there's people who really are impacted by their work, and also they're so like enthusiastic about it too, So I'm like, they don't spend any time flaunting their egos like I'm the best, or they are just focusing on the joy, and they're still surprised when they hear of people being like, this track is so cool. It's like, oh wow, thank you so much for liking it. I'm like, I can learn something about this because I'm not anywhere near cool as they are, and I have more ego. And like, what the fuck? What's my business having ego? It's Nobuo Uematsu is just so fucking chill,
Right.
I feel stupid.
I had a kind of I don't know how comparable it is, but like I had a similar experience because Rachel is friends with Jun Sonoy, and I kind of got similar vibes from him. He's the music director of Sonic Team.
Oh, that's why I knew the name. I'm like, well, I know this name, but damn.
Jun Sonoy, yeah. So she's worked with him in the past, and oh god, can I talk about this? I think I'm going to talk about this. So you remember Sonic Forces?
Yeah, I haven't played it though, but yeah.
So the vocalist from Hoobastank is strongly featured in that game's soundtrack. And that was Rachel's fault because she introduced Doug from Hoobastank to Jun Sonoy.
What?
Yeah.
Damn, what the fuck?
Yeah, because
she has these connections. Is that how you got your Call of Duty? Like, you did a Call of Duty song, right?
I did some music for... I did some additional music for Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and 4.
I love how casually you say that. That's just huge, It's
like, dude. Okay. So back in like back in early 2015, here's what happened. I made a cover of Uncharted Worlds from Mass Effect, and I sent that to Jack Wall just by email. The composer for one of the composers for Mass Effect, and also the composer for the Black Ops series.
What did you write? Like, what were you trying to do with the email?
I literally had just watched, I had come back from MagFest, and I was like thinking about it a lot. And at MagFest, I saw a panel with Vert, Jake Kaufman, the composer for Shovel Knight. So he gave a panel about music and not being afraid to promote yourself and put yourself out there. So I took that to heart and I tried to put it into practice. So I emailed Jack Wall and I was like, check out my cover. And he emailed me back at work. I was at work. He emailed me back like 5 minutes later and he was like, can I call you?
Really? What the fuck?
Yeah. And I was like, what? So I had a call with Jack Wall at my work in the company lounge. And I was like doubled over laughing into the phone. And he was like, hey, Rich. And he was like, hey, I'm working on this music project coming up, and I'd be really interested to see if you have any interest in maybe contributing some guitar and some metal music to it. And I was just like laughing. I was just like losing my mind, like, hi, Jack Wall. So that's crazy, and then man. And then I found out later that it was music for Call of Duty Black Ops 3. And they contract like just kind of like a circle of musicians for most games to just contribute like I can only really call it additional music. I don't think I'm legally allowed to like really kind of like discuss the fine like the nitty gritty details, but they just have like a circle of artists who contribute like various music to the game. I got to write a few tracks, and it went in the game, and it's still crazy to think about. And then he hit me up a few years later, and he's like, "Hey, I'm doing Black Ops 4," and I was like, "Okay, cool." Same thing. Can't really talk about the the nitty gritty details, but I think if you listen really closely, you can probably hear me because it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. Like millions of people have heard your guitars while playing Call of Duty, which is one of the most popular games ever made.
Yeah, it's really, like really crazy.
Was that the first game project you worked on officially?
Not the first. I think the first game project officially was it was a little fan game called Hyper Dragon Ball Z. It's like a Dragon Ball Z fighting game that's made by a little fan crew. It's really good, and it got like all kinds of attention. And the composer was a fan of my Shovel Knight covers, I believe, or not the composer. I'm sorry, I'm getting tired. It's like 12:30 here, but I'm good. The developer and pixel artist was a fan of my Shovel Knight covers, and was like, "Hey, do you want to cover the theme song?" And I was like, "Sure." And he was like, "We'll post it to our Facebook page and blah blah blah." And then they put it in the game. And then they ended up like playing it on like Game Grumps and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm in Game Grumps, cool.
Oh,
so I think that was the first like official like game where, and that's not like it's not composition, but it's still like it's in a game.
It's music. Yeah, like you made music for a game. Was that when you lived still like you lived in Michigan before San Diego?
I lived in Michigan. Yeah, I lived in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
So was all this when you lived in Michigan, or did it happen after?
Everything, let's see, Black Ops 3, Hyper Dragon Ball Z, and all of my covers leading up to Megalovania were all in Michigan. And then from Asgore on, in like Black Ops 4, that's all California.
So when you moved to California, like I was wondering about how did you get the courage? Because to do the transition from like having a normal day job or something to being like, hey, I'm going to move to California with my two best mates in a house, and we're going to all make music. Like that's not an easy transition to make. So I was like wondering.
It is extremely reckless and foolish, but once again, I was in a very privileged and unique position to be able to not only afford the move, but also have a safety net of my very loving and supportive parents back home who would be more than willing to be like, hey, you tried. I'll buy you a plane ticket and you can come back and go back to your day job.
Your parents sound so cool. Like they got your back. Like
they're extremely they are extremely supportive. I am 100% confident that I would not be doing YouTube without them supporting me through my childhood. They're awesome. But really it was John, because I had mentioned like through general angst of being like a recent graduate from university in Michigan and living in the Midwest my whole life, of dreaming of going and living in California, like where all the glitz and glamour and everything, and that's where all the YouTubers are. It's so cool out there. It's so nice. And I had visited once and I loved it. I had been talking with Jonathan Young on Skype, and I had mentioned that I was like, man, I kind of want to move to California, and he was like, dude, let's do it. And he was just gung ho on it. He was so determined that like he would message me like morning and night sometimes being like, so we're still doing California, right? Or we're going to move in, right? Like the plans had changed a few times. We eventually were able, like we wrangled Jules into through many games of Rocket League. I remember we were playing a lot of Rocket League around that time. And just like talking about it, like just like playing that game and being like, so like we can move to like San Diego, or we can move to like Carlsbad or something. Like I have this aunt who lives out there and she's got like some spare rooms. Like we're going to do it, guys. Like John was so gung ho about it that at a certain point I was in a position where I was like, I don't want to disappoint him. So I flew out to California and I was like, I can't believe this is happening. And then met up with John and his dad and Jules, and we were like, I can't believe we're doing this. And then we looked at houses and we settled on one that we found on Craigslist. And then I went back and put in my 2 months notice at work, and I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this. And they were kind of like, I can't believe you're doing this. What is wrong with you?
Wow.
And then, yeah, just packed everything in my car and drove to John's place around the lake over to Minnesota. And then we just kind of drove there, and we're like, yep, here we are. And I'm still here.
That's amazing, man. Congratulations. This is like these stories are so cool. Like how you met Rachel and how you moved to like LA with your best to California rather, with your best friends. San Diego, which is basically LA because it's really next to it anyway. Like it's a few hours drive.
Don't say that too loud, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Also, I got my life is just a bunch of dumb fucking luck, because also, as I said, my final cover in Michigan was that first Megalovania cover, which is now like 15 million views or something, like my second most popular video on YouTube. That was my last cover. So I moved with like 10,000 subscribers as Undertale was exploding. And when I got to my new house with John, because Jules like came like a week later, I was just like, what do I do? And he was like, make covers. And I was like, okay. And then I started making more Undertale covers, and he was like, you should probably make a Patreon. I was like, yeah, I guess I should make a Patreon. And I was just like, oh wow, I can make money doing this, because I had planned on moving out to California to try to do the YouTube music thing, and then get like a little side gig at like Geek Squad or something like that, or like a little like tech firm or IT firm or something. And I was just lucky and in the right time and place enough that Undertale just kind of blew up, and the developer was tweeting out my covers, and it was exploding on Tumblr, and I was like, oh, I guess I don't need to get a job.
Yeah, well, I think fortune favors the bold, in one way or another,
Yeah.
And yeah, it's true that Undertale really made some careers, for sure. Like, I see some channels that are super popular. I'm like, oh, how did this become popular? Let's go retroactively on all the videos and see which one was the first one to tip off.
You can almost just be like, yeah, I think I know. It's either going to be Five Nights at Freddy's, Ben the Unique Machine, or Undertale. One of those things.
Or Undertale, yeah, it's true. But yeah, that's amazing, dude. Like, I'm so proud of how far you've come and the courage that you've had. Because yeah, you say, oh, my parents had my back. Yeah, but it still takes courage to do this stuff, and curiosity and all those things. And that's amazing to hear. And I hope people are going to be inspired by hearing this story, honestly, because
I hope
people don't always get to see like the other side of stuff. And John sounds like a madman. He was like the dreamer, visionary of the trio then.
John is definitely like he's the mad genius behind everything, who is pestering both of us to just be like, dude, just do it. Dude, just do it.
He's the youngest also, right?
Hey, Jonathan Young, am I right?
Oh, no. That's not what I meant, but yeah, whatever.
He's 4 years younger than me.
He's a young dreamer.
Yeah. So he's the crazy mad scientist.
I'm just gonna ask you one last thing before we leave, and then if there's something you want to talk about, like for example, I've seen that you are collaborating with Touhou, Lost World. Mm-hmm. What is that? Because I thought I'm confused about Touhou. I don't know how that works. What is Touhou?
You want to talk about opening a can of worms? Touhou is like the biggest can of worms, but like not really in a bad way. Just know that it is a long-running, free-to-play bullet hell shooter made by one guy called Junya Ota, Zun, out of Japan. And he's been making these games since the 90s, and he's cultivated an insanely popular fan base in Japan, which has reached to, Western countries and all over the world. And the standout thing about these games, aside from the, it's little girls shooting laser beams at each other and extremely high difficulty with an extremely steep learning curve, it has absolutely 100% nothing but banger soundtracks. Like every song is just fucking awesome. Like especially for someone like me who likes kind of like metal, like power metal specifically. It like all of their all of the like Touhou soundtracks are just sick. And that's another thing that I kind of just unwittingly fell into, because I messaged a friend of mine. I messaged Temi, one of the artists for Undertale, and I was like, what should I cover? And she was like, you should check out Touhou music. And then I did. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And I had that same reaction you did, where I was like, what the fuck is Touhou?
Yeah.
And it's really it's just like it's at this point it's kind of like, what isn't Touhou? Because it's just so much stuff. Because now, as you've seen, like, I'm working with Touhou Lost Word, which is an official gacha game being developed by a different company in Japan, but being overseen by the developer of like the Touhou franchise and series. So it's all, it's all very official. Anyway, Temi was like, check out Touhou. Some of the music's really good, and there's like this really insane like scene of fan music and fan covers and just fan games and all kinds of fan stuff. And I did, and that was another one of those fan bases that just kind of like, I covered one thing and they were like, do more. And I've been doing that for 4 years, and now like it just got to the point where like some of the folks who like work with those teams over in Japan are like, do you want to cover music from this game so that it can be used for advertising and also put in the game?
Yeah, that's insane, dude.
Which, and I'm just like, that's literally just been one of those things where I'm like, okay, like,
yeah, it's as if like freaking Square Enix, hey, do you want to make a song for Final Fantasy? Because you like, that would be a moment that I'll be like, oh shit, obviously, but
yeah,
what the fuck?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
that must have made you incredibly proud. Like, I've
man,
seen your cover of. For example, I'm aware of Touhou probably mostly because of your cover of Bad Apple, which I don't know the song. I know it because of you. Sometimes I get exposed to new pieces of music because of people that I follow covering them.
I want to kind of expand on that and why Touhou might be daunting and a little confusing. So my cover is a cover of a fan-made remix that is a remix of a song called Bad Apple from one of the first Touhou games, if not the first Touhou game, that sounds very, very different. They sound very different. And then that song, that remix, which is like a Japanese fan-made remix, got popular because people made videos on Japanese video sharing websites. I think I'm getting this right. I'm probably getting some of this wrong. And
probably
one of
Nico
them
Nico or something like that.
It's on Nico Nico. And one of the videos got really popular because it was like an animatic describing how they would animate a music video using shadow puppet versions of the characters from the games rendered as 3D models. And then someone else took that video and made the render, which later got uploaded to American YouTube in like 2008, which caused a spur of popularity then. And it's just a staple now. But it's all just like one idea and like all of this fan content surrounding it. And then there's like my cover off to the side, which that too is like the reason I asked Christina was specifically specific. The reason I asked Christina specifically is because she had also made her own English version like 10 years prior or something like that. And it was written with Pat McCarthy, who is like, he helped her write the lyrics, and he's like a producer for U2 or something like that. I don't know. Dude, it's just, I don't know. Touhou is insane. Touhou is insane. I don't know. Touhou is completely fucking insane. Their fan base is awesome. They've been nothing but nice and good to me. I love them dearly. I will continue to cover Touhou music.
Wow.
It
seems like they really care about the music. It's one of those games where people really give value to it.
Yeah, it's one of the it's one of the staples.
Zun is the guy who made the game, and he also made the music.
Yeah, he did everything himself. Artistic assets, game programming, like I think literally everything, for better or for worse. And those first and there's like a million games. He did it all himself.
Jesus.
And then I think he has like teams of people and managers and stuff that like help him out now. I've never met him. I've never talked to him. I don't really know much about him. There's probably going to be some people who are like, actually, you're wrong. And I probably am on some of this stuff because it is all very confusing. But the coolest thing about him is that he's always been... Lore. It's just he's always been very cool about fan content. Like he's not... Like if people are like, I want to make fan remixes and sell them, he's like, that's fine. And now they have their own record label specifically for Touhou music based out of Japan.
Damn.
And there's a lot of artists. It's nuts. It's really crazy.
It sounds like you like. I see how like you like those games that are very hard and complicated and they have very intricate lore. I think one of your favorite series is like the Soulsborne series, right?
Right, but Alex, I've never played a Touhou game.
Oh, you never? Okay, good.
I've never played it.
Okay. Because,
but I do love the Soulsborne games.
Yeah. What's your favorite?
Bloodborne.
Oh, there we
Bloodborne.
go.
Bloodborne, can
Oh
you see it?
shit! Wow.
Bloodborne.
Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite. Okay, favorite song and favorite character from Bloodborne, and then I'll let you go because it's like where you are.
Ludwig the Holy Blade.
Oh damn. Yeah, that's a good one.
That's
the one I made
probably
a
my
video
favorite.
about.
Yeah.
I like one of my favorites probably is Moon Presence, which is one of the most underwhelming fights, but the music with the choir is crazy, and also like Lawrence the First Vicar and Lady Maria and the First Hunter too. Like
that whole soundtrack just is awesome.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Rich, I'm gonna let you go to bed because I know it's late where you are, and I'm so grateful for having had this time with you and for hearing your story. And I hope people find that of inspiration. If there's another like guy like you out there who's listening to this, what would you tell him as an advice? If you could go back in the past and meet a young Richaad who's starting to delve into becoming who he is now, oh, this guitar thing is cool. What would you tell yourself at the beginning?
I'd probably tell them as soon as YouTube is invented, start upload, because I started playing before it came out, before it was released. I'm tired. I'm sorry. Before it was a thing, I would tell him to start uploading immediately. And I'm also telling that to whoever may be listening to this and maybe seeking advice from me. Just do it. Just start recording, start researching, start improving your craft, find the time to do it. You may have to make sacrifices to do so, but if you think it's worth doing, other people probably do too, so do it.
You heard the man. I completely agree with that. Just do it. I will see you guys another time. Where can people find you, by the way? Sorry, I always forget to ask this, man.
You can find me everywhere at RichaadEB, youtube.com /RichaadEB, Twitter, RichaadEB, Instagram, RichaadEB. I'm RichaadEB everywhere.
All right. RichaadEB. Okay, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Peace.